First day. Frequently the man of passion is most eager to put others right, but the man of wisdom puts himself right. If one is anxious to reform the world, let him begin by reforming himself. The reformation of self does not end with the elimination of the sensual elements only, that is its beginning. It ends only when every vain thought and selfish aim is overcome. Short of perfect purity and wisdom, there is still some form of self-slavery or folly which needs to be conquered. On the wings of aspiration man rises from earth to heaven, from ignorance to knowledge, from the under darkness to the upper light. Without it he remains a groveling animal, earthly, sensual, unenlightened, and uninspired. Aspiration is the longing for heavenly things. Where is peace to be found? Where is the hiding place of truth? Second day. Let first things be put first, work before play, duty before enjoyment, and others before self. This is an excellent rule which cannot lead astray. To make a right beginning is halfway to victory. The athlete who makes a bad start may lose his prize, the merchant who makes a false start may lose his reputation, and the truth seeker who makes a wrong start may forego the crown of righteousness. To begin with pure thoughts, sterling rectitude, unselfish purpose, noble aims, and an incorruptible conscience, this is to start right. This it is to put first things first, so that all other things will follow in harmonious order, making life simple, beautiful, successful, and peaceful. The soul will cry out for its lost heritage. If one would find peace, he must come out of passion. Third day. So long as animal conditions taste sweet to a man, he cannot aspire, he is so far satisfied, but when their sweetness turns to bitterness, then in his sorrow he thinks of nobler things. When he is deprived of earthly joy, he aspires to the joy which is heavenly. It is when impurity turns to suffering that purity is sought. Truly aspiration rises, phoenix-like, from the dead ashes of repentance, but on its powerful pinions men can reach the heaven of heavens. The man of aspiration has entered the way which leads to peace, and surely he will reach that end if he stays not nor turns back. If he constantly renews his mind with glimpses of the heavenly vision, he will reach the heavenly state. That which can be conceived can be achieved. Our life is what we make it by our own thoughts and deeds. Fourth day. Man attains in the measure that he aspires. His longing to be is the gauge of what he can be. To fix the mind is to foreordain the achievement. As men can experience and know all low things, so he can experience and know all high things. As he has become human, so he can become divine. The turning of the mind in high and divine directions is the sole and needful task. What is impurity but the impure thoughts of the thinker? What is purity but the pure thoughts of the thinker? One man does not do the thinking of another. Each man is pure or impure of himself alone. The man of aspiration sees before him the pathway up the heavenly heights, and his heart already experiences a foretaste of the final peace. There is a life of victory over sin, and triumph over evil. When a man wishes and wills he can find the good and the true. Fifth day. The gates of heaven are forever open, and no one is prevented from entering by any will or power but his own, but no one can enter the kingdom of heaven so long as he is enamored of, and chooses, the seductions of hell, so long as he resigns himself to sin and sorrow. There is a larger, higher, nobler, diviner life than that of sinning and suffering, which is so common, in which, indeed, nearly all are immersed, a life of victory over sin, and triumph over evil, a life wise and happy, benign and tranquil, virtuous and peaceful. This life can be found and lived now, and he who lives it is steadfast in the midst of change, restful among the restless, peaceful, though surrounded by strife. Every moment is the time of choice, every hour is destiny. The lover of the pure life renews his mind daily. Sixth day. As the energetic man of business is not daunted by difficulties, but studies how to overcome them, so the man of ceaseless aspiration is not crushed into submission by temptations, but meditates how he may fortify his mind, for the tempter is like a coward, he only creeps in at weak and unguarded points. The tempted one should study thoughtfully the nature and meaning of temptation, for until it is known it cannot be overcome. He who is to overcome temptation must understand how it arises in his own darkness and error, and must study, by introspection and meditation, how to disperse the darkness and supplant error by truth. A man must know himself if he is to know truth. Self-knowledge is the handmaid of self-conquest. Engage daily in holy meditation on truth and its attainment. As errors and impunities are revealed, purge them away. 7th day. Every step upward means the leaving of something behind and below. The high is reached only at the sacrifice of the low. The good is secured only by abandoning the evil. Knowledge is acquired only by the destruction of ignorance. Livery acquisition has its price, which must be paid, to the uttermost farthing. Every animal, every creeping thing, possesses some gift, so power, which man, in his upward march, has laid down, which he has exchanged for some higher gift, or power. What great good men forfeit by clinging to old selfish habits. Behind every humble sacrifice a winged angel waits to bear us up the heights of knowledge and wisdom. Let him who has attained guard against falling back. Let him be careful in little things, and be well fortified against the entrance of sin. Aim, with ardor, for the attainment of a perfect life. The strife of the world in all its forms has its origin in one common cause, namely, individual selfishness. 8th day. All the varied activities of human life are rooted in, and draw their vitality from, one common source, the human heart. The cause of all suffering and all happiness resides, not in the outer activities of human life, but in the inner activities of the heart and mind, and every external agency is sustained by the life which it derives from human conduct. The man who cannot endure to have his errors and shortcomings brought to the surface and made known, but tries to hide them, is unfit to walk the highway of truth. He is not properly equipped to battle with and overcome temptation. He who cannot fearlessly face his lower nature cannot climb the rugged heights of renunciation. Each man comes under the laws of his own being, never under the laws of another. When the soul is most tried, its need is greatest. 9th day. Do not despair because of failure. From your particular failure there is a special greatness, a peculiar wisdom, to be gained, and no teacher can lead you to that greatness, that wisdom, more surely and swiftly than your experience of failure. In every mistake you make, in every fall you encounter, there is a lesson of vital import if you will but search it out, and he who will stoop to discover the good in that which appears to be disastrous will rise superior to every event, and will utilize his failures as winged steeds to bear him to a final and supreme success. Foolish men blame others for their lapses and sins, but let the truth lover blame only himself. Let him acknowledge his complete responsibility for his own conduct. Where temptation is powerful, the greater and more enduring will be the victory. The great need of the soul is the need of that permanent. 10th day. The old must pass away before the new can appear. The old cottage must be demolished before the new mansion can appear upon its site. The old error must be destroyed before the new truth can come. The old self must be renounced before the new man can be born. When the old self of temper, impatience, envy, pride, and impurity has perished, then in its place will appear the new man of gentleness, patience, goodwill, humility, and purity. Let the old life of sin and sorrow pass, let the new life of righteousness and joy come in. Then all that was old and ugly will be made new and beautiful. It is in the realization of this principle where the kingdom of heaven, the abiding home of the soul, resides, and which is the source and storehouse of every permanent blessing. A life of virtue is noble and excellent. It matters little what is without, for it is all a reflection of your own consciousness. 11th day. The deplorable failure of many outward and isolated reforms is traceable to the fact that their devotees pursue them as an end in themselves, failing to see that they are merely steps towards ultimate, individual perfection. All true reform must come from within, in a changed heart and mind. The giving up of certain foods and drinks, and the breaking away from certain outward habits, are good and necessary beginnings, but they are only beginnings, and to end there is to fall far short of a true spiritual life. It is good, therefore, to cleanse the heart, to correct the mind, and to develop the understanding, for we know that the one thing needed is a regenerate heart. It matters everything what you are within, for everything without will be mirrored and colored accordingly. Renew your resolution daily, and in the hour of temptation do not depart from the right path. 12th day. The days are lengthening. Each day now the sun rises a little higher, and the light lingers a little longer. So each day we can strengthen our character, each day we can open our heart a little more to the light of truth, and allow the sun of righteousness to shine more highly in our mind. The sun does not increase in volume or intensity, but the earth turns towards it, and receives more as it turns. All that there is of truth and good is now. It does not increase or diminish. But as we turn towards it we receive of its radiance and beneficence in ever-increasing abundance and power. As the artisan acquires skill in fashioning the articles of his craft by daily and diligent practice with his tools, so do you acquire skill in fashioning good deeds by daily and diligent practice of the truth. You can acquire truth only by practice. The wise purify their thoughts. 13th day. Every day is a new birth in time, holding out new beginnings, new possibilities, new achievements. The ages have witnessed the stars in their orbits, but this day hath no age witnessed. It is a new appearance, a new reality. It heralds a new life, a new order, a new society, a new age. It holds out new hopes, new opportunities, to all men. In it you can become a new man, a new woman. For you it can be the day of regeneration, renewal, rebirth. From the old past with its mistakes, failures, and sorrows, you can rise a new being, endued with power and purpose, and radiant with the inspiration of a new ideal. Be chaste in mind and body. Abandon sensual pleasures. Purge the mind of selfishness, and live a life of exalted purity. Be upright, gentle, and pure-hearted. Exert yourself ceaselessly in decreasing evil and accumulating good. 14th day. Victory of all kinds is preceded by a season of preparation. It can no more appear spontaneously and erratically than can a flower or a mountain. Like them, it is the culminating point in a process of growth, in a series of causes and effects. No mere wishing, no magic word, will produce worldly success. It must be achieved by an orderly succession of well-directed efforts. No spiritual victory will be achieved by him who imagines that it does not begin until the hour of temptation arrives. All spiritual triumphs are gained in the silent hour of meditation, and through a series of successes in lesser trials. The time of great temptation is the climax of a conquest that long preparation has made certain and complete. Fix your minds on the practice of virtue, and the comprehension and application of fixed and noble principles. The never-ending gladness awaits your home, coming. 15th day. As the falling rain prepares the earth for the future crops of grain and fruit, so the rains of many sorrows showering upon the heart prepare and mellow it for the coming of that wisdom that perfects the mind and gladdens the heart. As the clouds darken the earth but to cool and fructify it, so the clouds of grief cast a shadow over the heart to prepare it for nobler things. The hour of sorrow is the hour of reverence. It puts an end to the shallow sneer, the ribald jest, the cruel calumny. It softens the heart with sympathy, and enriches the mind with thoughtfulness. Wisdom is mainly recollection of all that was learned by sorrow. Do not think that your sorrow will remain. It will pass away like a cloud. Where self ends, grief passes away. Live sweetly and happily, as becomes the dignity of a true manhood and womanhood. The journey to peace, purpose, and power doesn't begin in the world, it begins within. Each day is a new opportunity to rise above your past, conquer your lower nature, and become who you were truly meant to be. Start with one thought, one choice, one act of discipline, and you will change your life. If this spoke to your soul, don't just watch. Live it. Practice it. Become it. Subscribe for more daily wisdom, and let your inner revolution begin.